So in section 4.1, we're starting to solve equations using addition and subtraction. So those are the only operations that you're going to see today. You're not going to see any multiplication and division. That's saved for 4.2. Okay? So, and then we do two-step equations, but really the entire chapter 4 is equations and inequalities. By the time we get to the end of chapter 4, all right, so what I like about chapter 4 is it's not that it's all these like random, like all these different concepts. It really is equations and inequalities, but we just keep building on those concepts throughout the chapter. Okay, so that's a lot of what you're going to see in chapter 4. But here's the basics. Okay, equations have one solution. There is only one number that can make x plus 5 equals 10 true. There's only one number. And most of you should know that without having to do any work at all, because that would just be a mental math equation that we can solve. Would you agree? Okay? So equations only have one solution. All right, so everybody, what would be the value for x to make the equation true? 5, okay? Now, pretending that we did not know that, all right, and this is what we're going to explore today, we can use opposite operations to solve equations. All right, well, what is the opposite of addition? Subtraction. So what it's saying is whatever operation is connected to the variable, in this case, an addition sign, x plus 5, I can do the opposite to cancel it out and get the variable by itself. That's my whole goal when I'm solving equations. So pretending as if we do not know the answer to this very simple equation, we would subtract 5 to get x by itself, but that's not enough. Whatever we do to one side of the equation, we must do the exact same thing to the other side of the equation. So now we subtract 5 from 10. And what is 10 minus 5? X equals 5. So you say, well, that was a really complicated way of solving a really simple equation. Would you agree? Yes. Okay. However, the process allows you to solve much, much more complicated equations with ease. Very easy. As long as we recognize those opposite operations. All right. So I wanted to show it to you on a very basic level, but basic means I could have done it mental math, so we just have to kind of work through that. All right, so here is your ultimate goal. Your ultimate goal is to get the variable, just like we just showed you up here, to get the variable by itself on one side of the equation. That tells you what the variable needs to equal. All right, so that this is really, guys, this is just kind of like in a nutshell how we're solving equations. All right, and then we're just going to build on it. Everybody good so far? No. Not yet? Okay, I can come back to it. All right. Okay, so example 1. Go ahead and write this equation. X minus 5 equals negative 1. X minus 5 equals negative 1. Okay, so what operation do you see on the side with the variable that's connected to the variable? You see subtraction. Everybody see the subtraction sign? All right, so we said it was subtraction, so we need to add in order to get it to cancel. Well, whatever we do to one side, we do the same thing to the other side. So we now need to add 5 to the other side. So what is, all right, does everybody agree on the left side? Negative 5 plus 5 is 0. I got it to cancel. It's gone. Okay, so now x is by itself. What is negative 1 plus 5?
Negative 4. Positive 4.
Positive 4. Okay, so this is what I think is my answer. Based on my steps, I think that 4 is my answer. Well, the great thing about equations is I can actually check to see if that is true. Okay? So I can take my solution and plug it back into the original problem. All right? Is it true that 4 minus 5 equals negative 1? Don't just say yes. Put it in your calculator. You do not have to show any work on the check part. Just put it in your calculator. Even if you think mental math, yes, I got it right, still check it. 4 minus 5 equals what? Negative 1. And you show me equals negative 1 and you check it out. Okay, you have 3 problems like this on your homework tonight. All right, -1 equals -1. All right, and you check it out. Okay, based on how we just did the first one, I want you to do the second one. So last hour when I was walking around, I saw a bunch of correct answers and no work. All right, and that is not a full credit answer. You say, well, it was easy. I can do it in my head. And my response to that is I'm trying to teach you the steps now so when the problems are harder, you understand the process. Okay, so even though you know the answer, just do the steps. All right, make that a habit. Just do the steps. All right, so what would I do to both sides, guys?
Oh, you add 5.
Add 5. Add 5 to both sides. Okay, and now I can clearly see -5 plus 5 is 0. And P equals what?
3.
P equals 3. All right, but I'm not done yet. I need to go back and check my solution. So is it true that 3 minus 5 equals -2? And there's no reason you shouldn't use your calculator just to make sure of that, okay? So you say, well, that's pretty simple to solve. I would agree, but you would be surprised at how many people on a quiz or a test, they get really like stressed out and they, or for whatever reason, they overlook very simple problems that usually would be simple for them. Right, and so when we check it out, it does equal -2, okay? All right, so still part of example 1. Now, what do you see that's different? Fractions and decimals. So these might not be as easy to do mental math, but we know the process now, so we're just looking for the operation that's connected on the variable side. Okay, so we have z, what is that operation? Plus 3/2 equals 1/2. Go ahead and write that down. Okay, so what do you think you would do to both sides to get z by itself? What would you do? Okay, would you subtract 3/2? Do you agree with that? Yeah. To subtract 3/2, that is correct. Okay, I need to subtract both sides by 3/2. Why subtract? Because there was an addition sign, and that's how I can get it to cancel. Whatever I do to one side, I do the same thing to the other. Okay, so now what is 1/2 minus 3/2? Because they have common denominators, I can just do 1 minus 3. Again, you can use your calculators also if you want to just double check. What is 1 minus 3? -1 minus 3 is what? -2/2, which reduces to -1. Okay? All right, so I think this is my answer. How can I be sure? Check it. Well, how do you check it? How do you check it? Yes, plug it back in for z. So again, guys, just use your calculators. I'm not looking for any work to be shown on the checking part. What's -1 plus 3/2? Don't guess. What's -1 plus 3/2? Look at that, 1/2. 1/2 equals 1/2. And I have my checked answer. Again, on your homework, this is exactly how I need to see it. I need to see these steps and a checked answer. If I don't see the steps, guys, if all I see is an answer, I'm going to give your paper back to you and tell you to redo it. You say, Ms. Kinder, the problems were simple. I know that, but I only am giving you 8 problems on your homework. 8. There are 47 questions on the 4.1 exercises. 47, and how many did I give you? 8. So I'm asking you to show your work and to check your answers. Okay? So it's important that you do each problem fully in order to get credit. All right, go ahead and look at the second one. W plus 13.2 equals 10.4. All right, based on the first 3 problems that we worked, what do you think you're going to do to both sides of the equation to solve for W? Go ahead and try that. Don't say it out loud yet. Go ahead and write it on your paper. So what do you think we're going to do on the second one? What did you guys do on your papers?
Subtract 13.
Why did you subtract 13.2? Because there's an addition sign here connected to the W. Okay, so how do we get rid of it? We have to do the opposite. Subtract 13.2 from both sides. Who got -2.8? -2.8. All right, how can I be sure that my answer is correct? Plug it back into the original problem, all right? So negative 2.8 plus 13.2 does in fact equal 10.4. Right? Again, on your homework, I'm looking for a boxed answer and a boxed checked answer. I love it when you do the checked problems in a different color. I do say no homework in pen. This is my exception, okay? Checked answers in different colors are really easy to grade, okay? So you can get colorful with your homework. Totally cool with that. All right? Okay, example 2. We need to look at a few things from example 2. In your homework, they word this a little different, not necessarily in a word problem. So we need to go over some of your keywords for your operations. Let's read the problem first, though. It says a skydiving company has a profit of $750 this week. This profit is $900 more than the profit last week. Which equation can be used to find P or find profit? All right, so here's what I'm looking at, okay? Let's look at our choices first of all. We have subtraction and addition, obviously, because that's what our lesson is about today, is addition and subtraction. What are some keywords that you would see if it was a subtraction problem? What are some keywords for subtraction? What are some keywords for subtraction? Just tell me. Difference. Minus. Subtracted by. Okay, less than, fewer than. You guys remember your subtraction words? Okay, so they're going to give you like a phrase, and if you see any of those, you know that it's subtraction. All right, what are some addition words? Just tell me. Some, more than, added to, in addition to, maybe. All right, so those are my adding words. All right, so let's read it again. Read it again to yourself. Do you see any of those key words here? Do you see any of those key words in this problem? What do you see, Isaiah? You see more than. So what two options does that immediately eliminate?
A and C.
Okay, it immediately eliminates A and C, right? Those are subtraction problems. So now my only two choices are B and D. Okay, well, which one of these represents $900 more than? Which one? Is it B or D? More than the profit. $900 more than the profit. Which one? Who's voting for B? Anybody voting for B? Who's voting for D? Anybody for D? Okay, here's how I know. The second one, option B, is showing $900 more than the profit on the right side of the equation. Okay, so I know that that one is the correct choice because it matches the verbal phrase in the word problem. That equation matches the phrase. All right, more than, $900 more than. I have the equation, I need to solve it. All right, so this is very similar to number 30 on your homework. 750 equals P plus 900. Well, what is a little different about the way this equation is set up versus the other equations that we just solved? What is different here? It's flipped. It comes with the number first. The variable is on the right side of the equation. I would almost say backwards. Would anybody else say this equation is backwards? Okay, so backwards oftentimes kind of messes us up. Like, you know, we don't like that. I would say that you can switch it around if you want. P plus 900 equals 750. It's the same thing, but we don't have to. All right, we still just focus on the side with the variable. How do I get P by itself? What would I do? How would I get P by itself? Kyle?
Minus 900.
You subtract 900. All right, our tendency is to say, well, I subtract 750 because that comes first. But that's not on the side of P. Okay, I need to subtract 900 from both sides. Well, something's looking really fishy about my profit from last week. Something's looking kind of fishy about it. What is it? My profit last week was negative $150. That's not good. Okay, that means I had a slow week. The store was slow. No customers came. All right, but here's what we need to understand: how to move basically a phrase into an equation. I want to show you one that looks more similar to your homework. All right, this is number 29 on your homework. All right, number 29 says 4 less than, just in case you don't have your books open, I'll write it down. A number is 15. Okay, they say a number n is 15. Sorry, negative 15. Okay, so I'm looking for my keywords here. Does anybody see a keyword as to if it's going to be addition or subtraction? Does anybody see that? Okay, less than. So less than, though, less than is a little different when it comes to subtraction. I don't know if you guys have learned this before, but all the others, minus, subtracted by, all the other subtraction words, I just write it how I read it. But if I see less than, I'm actually taking the first number from the second number. Less than and more than, I'm going to write it in the reverse order. This will help you for number 30. Okay, addition isn't as big of a deal as subtraction, but it's still important. So if it's 4 less than a number, I need to, okay, somehow write this with numbers and a sign, okay? Does anybody have a guess as to what it would look like? Jason? No, less than is going to be minus, okay? So if it's 4 less than a number, I actually am going to write it 4 less than, I have to take it from the number. The less than means that I reverse the order. If it had said, guys, if it had said 4 minus a number, I would have just wrote it 4 minus n. Okay? So the difference of 4 and a number, 4 minus n. But because it said 4 less than a number, I reverse the order on it. And then the word is where I put my equal sign. Okay? So don't put your equal sign wherever you want. Put it in the order that it appears in the phrase. Equals negative 15. All right? Now we can solve it. How do we solve for n? Add 4 to both sides. All right, and n equals negative 11. And on your homework, they don't make you check this, although you can check it pretty easily. Okay, so are the equations equivalent? All right, so in every lesson in Chapter 4, they give us problems like this, where you have 2 equations or 2 inequalities, and you have to tell whether or not they are equivalent. Well, the answers are equivalent, okay? So how are you going to know if these equations are equivalent? Can you just look at them and say yes? Can you just look at them and say yes?
No.
No, what do you think you need to do?
Solve them.
Solve them. Go ahead. Go ahead and solve them. Okay, so n plus 3 equals negative 5. What do I do to both sides? Nah, I'm already adding. Subtract 3 from both sides. What's negative 5 minus 3?
8.
What? Negative 8. Okay, what do I do to both sides on the second equation? I need to add 4. And what do I get? Negative 8 again. So because my solution is the same number, they are equivalent. If they were different numbers, then they would not be. Okay? They are equivalent. Any questions? Okay, last problem. All right, so what is this lesson about today? What is it about? Equations, addition, and subtraction. So what operations do you think are going to be in this problem? Addition and subtraction. Bingo. Okay. And also, I need to somehow form an equation. I need to somehow form an equation. So let's read it. You have $512.50. You earn additional money by shoveling snow. Then you purchase a new cell phone for $249.95. You have $482.55 left. How much did you earn shoveling snow? So here's a couple things I want to look for. I want to look for our operations. Is $512.50 positive or negative?
Positive.
Okay. What about $249.95?
Positive.
Hold on. You purchased the cell phone for $249.95. So did you make that money or spend it?
You split it.
So that would be negative. And then $482, is that how much you're in debt or how much money you have left? Okay, so that's still positive also. So we're kind of just identifying, are these numbers positive or negative? Okay, and also what side of the equation it's going to belong on. All right, so this is the challenge. All right, that some combination of values over here will give me some final number over here. Okay, well, does anybody see a hint as to, let's start here, what number would go here? Okay, hold on. Why do you say 482? Because that's my final amount. So some combination of all the other transactions over here are going to get me to my final amount of $482.55. With me? Okay. All right. So now, what did we say? 512, was it positive or negative?
Positive.
And 50 cents plus how much I made shoveling snow. I just used an S, okay? I don't know how much money I made shoveling snow, okay? And what did we say 249 was, positive or minus? Negative 249.95. You see how we put that into an equation? Now, I know that that's challenging. Guys, this is the most challenging part of what we do in math, is putting together a word problem. But it's important that we practice, and the more we practice, the more we can understand how to break down problems, all right? And this verbalizing that I'm walking you through, guess what I had to do? I was not given the work. All I knew in my teacher book was the answer, okay? So I had to go through the same thought process that you have to go through in order to figure out how to teach this to you, okay? It's not easy. Can I tell you that? I'm 31. I've been teaching math for most of my career, and this is still a challenge to me. So it's okay if you struggle with this, okay? But there's a process that we can follow to help us break down these problems, all right? Now, you should be able to start piecing it together to figure out S. I want you to do that, all right? Go ahead and try to finish solving. Anything on the left side of the equal sign that maybe could be combined? 512 minus 249.95. Okay, what's 512? I'm actually not sure. $512.50 minus 249.95 gives me, change it to a decimal, $262.55 plus S. Why did I use S? S for shoveling. I don't know. You could have used X. Equals 482.55. Okay, now solve for S. What would you do to both sides?
Oh, you
Sub-
added 249? Oh, okay, I got it.
No, I subtracted it from 512. Subtract 262.55 from both sides. 262.55. And S equals what? 220 bucks. Okay, so that's how much I made shoveling snow. All right, that's how much I made shoveling snow. All right, so that's your word problem. You do have, let's see, that's very similar to number 30. 34 is a little less complicated, but it's similar to number 39 also. Okay, so $220 is what I have left. Okay, I want to show you a problem like number 36. I'm going to do number 37. Again, I'm trying to show you, and for whatever reason, they give you different problems. It's okay. I just kind of wish that they were more in our examples, but sometimes they're not. So I try to kind of cover everything. Let's say we had, no, actually I'm not going to do 37. I'm going to just change the numbers from 36. Let's say I have a triangle, okay? And it says that my perimeter is 20 feet. Okay, you want to write this down. And I've got 3 feet, and guys, this is not proportionate, so please don't overthink this. 8 feet and a big question mark, okay? And it says, find the unknown side length. What is the unknown side length? Well, we have to set it up in an equation. So what we're trying to teach you is how to set up an equation. Say, I can solve this mental math. This is so easy. I get that, but I need you to set up an equation. So can anybody think what the equation might be that I would set up here? Kennedy?
3 plus 8 minus 1.
Not minus 20. Plus what? Plus P or X or whatever I want to say, S for side, equals my total. Equals my total, 20. Okay, so what's 3 plus 8? 11 plus X equals 20. You say, Ms. Skinner, you're overcomplicating this. I could have done it in my head. I understand that, but again, we're starting simple so that when the problems get harder, we have something to kind of fall back on or a process to fall back on. So my unknown side length is 9 feet. That's how you would do number 36. All right, I think we've pretty much covered all of the potential problems that you'll have on your homework. So if you understand that, that's everything you need to know for section 4.1.